Hello, friends. This is Niraj here once again from Moscow. And in today's topic, I would not just like to talk about any specific things. I just wanted to give you little tidbits about how to live with coronavirus and how to start rolling economy. So living with coronavirus, as you know that we all are have to as per the reports coming out from various medical and other journals and all this leaders talking about and all this recommendations that this virus is going to live here for long time, and it's not going to just go away. And so the best part is that we need to live with it. Because contrary to earlier predictions or understanding that this is a very deadly virus and people will just die like dropping pins, it's not coming true. It's contagious, but it's not so deadly. It's, you can say, that higher version of flu or influenza. That is all the intense version of that. So that is one good part about this, is that we can, with some precautions, we can live with this, because as you know that indefinitely nothing can be stopped, and people can't be locked inside house, and activities can't be stopped, because otherwise any case people will die of hunger, die of mental illnesses. Already here in Moscow, yesterday there were two short incidents that people just shot gunshots from their apartments because they just gone crazy sitting inside. So so this is this can be the repercussions coming very soon if it things remain closed for long time, and the people will start looting and plundering and attacking, and because it becomes desperate without money and without food and without job. Having said that, I would just leaving aside whatever the medical experts are giving recommendation, I would just like to give little about my own practical experience and what I generally do. And as you can see that I live okay, fine, my health wise and everything. So I would just give little personal tidbit about how to. So what I do is that whenever I go out and I come back home, I wash my hands with a normal soap. That's it. And I wear masks and gloves only inside the closed spaces like big shops or enclosures where a lot of people are there. Other than that, I don't wear mask. I open the I actually remove mask while walking on the streets or anything, because when there are not people in the open space also, you need good oxygen and everything. Because if you keep your mask on for a long time, you will die of asphyxiation. It's called, means inhalation of carbon dioxide rather than oxygen, because that what you exhale, that only it remains inside and it doesn't go out of mask. So that is another thing. So don't be too paranoid and too hysteric about this virus in short, and try to get on with your normal life with precautions. And also another point is that you don't try to push anybody or don't try to touch. Remain less contact as possible. It's better. Okay. But you don't have to become cuckoo and crazy just if somebody touches you or pushes you. That's okay. It can happen because of big huge population and crowd. But you need to just take that kind of precaution. That's what I'm trying to say. And having said that, we can't keep logged all the public transportation and normal life for a long time. And even with the guidelines, I can understand in recent times that guidelines can work for 1-2 months with 50% capacity and 50% of this public transportation, people traveling less or not to the full capacity inside metro or buses and taxis. But as you know that we have restriction of we have the lack of resources, and we have not enough public transportation any case, and not enough infrastructure to handle or create public transportation immediately. So enforcing this kind of guidelines is not practical. It's not going to be remaining there for a long time, because sooner rather than later you will have to live with this, and you have to understand that because you can't create public transportation, more public transportation and more infrastructure in a few months. So we have to live with whatever the existing transportation system is there, and let people also travel and decide about whatever maximum possible. You can't just keep on stopping people for traveling and for their own livelihood forever. So that is one practical aspect. So is that sooner or later you have to open all this public transportation and allow in a normal way. You can't enforce that only 50% will travel in a Mumbai metro or in Mumbai railway. It's not possible, because the big cities are dependent on the public transportation and not on this private vehicles, because of there are like in Mumbai there is no roads for driving. I mean, it's not possible. If somebody travels 30 kilometers, he can't reach by roads if everybody comes on the road, because once you stop or you reduce the transportation capacity, then the load will come on the road, and roads are not conceived to be or built to that capacity where it can handle the double or triple the load of what they can handle right now, existing load. So that is one thing about how to live with corona and get on with the life. The second aspect I wanted to talk about really little bit about is that how economy can be start rolling. So in that I would just like to tell is that all these leaders of the world who are sitting highly perched on their ivory towers and keep lecturing about this virus. So first thing a leader can do, whether it is an Indian leader or a Russian or a USA or European or anybody, any political leader of the country can do, is that stop fear mongering, stop hysteria inducing talk about coronavirus. You can just tell about precautions, but don't keep on pushing it so much that it becomes a mass hysteria into the minds of people, and people also start just thinking about virus, and they forget even the simplest of the tasks and simplest of the life to how to live. So that is the first. And how leaders can do by themselves practicing that. So leaders should stop coming out or addressing the nation through the mask and all these things. They should, because in enclosed spaces, as I told you, it's not required when there are not many people, like in your home or you're in office. So you have to practice that, and you have to, because people follow what you do, how you behave. So once you start doing that, people will also become little relaxed and understand that yes, these are the guidelines required only during the public time and not in the private. So that is one. Fear mongering will little slowly go away. Then tell media to stop focusing on this coronavirus and coronavirus warriors and all these doctors and what virologist says and what this daily coming out with some statements and number of cases is going and down or up, and full news about this. That also, as a responsible media, should stop that fear mongering, because that is only creating more fear and hysteria among people rather than helping anything. And because first of all, this number of cases, how they collect this data and the method of collection and the method of determining the testing and everything is also highly suspicious, because nobody knows that how many people actually had coronavirus or not, or because they had some pre-existing illnesses and because of that they died. That analysis is not yet done. So rather than fear mongering, you should just stop telling that. Another is how to roll economy, is that on a lighter side, you can start rolling it by crediting money to my bank account, which details are given below in the description box. But jokes apart, you can start going out little, start spending money, start buying things which you had stopped. apart from your food and groceries and other items. Start buying that. It will help even the last poorest man of standing in this world, because once you start buying only, then only this all the cycles and chains will start moving. And start spending little money on the cafes and restaurants, and this is little things. You don't have to spend too much money. It's a small things, small help is going to start this rolling of this economy. Because practically I know that India, suppose if you take the example of India doesn't have that much resources, and whatever said and done. So I understand, I never advocated also that one should distribute like USA and Europe and all these things. But a leader, as I'm telling you in this episode, is that whatever leader does, public emulates. So leader has to be honest first and tell that we are not that rich country, we have limited resources, so we have to tighten our belt and live with this, rather than making big announcement about $1 trillion and 200 and or $500 billion of stimulus. It doesn't help, because this is not stimulus. Stimulus means what is right now, presently you give directly injection, it's called stimulus. It's not some long-term structural reforms are not called stimulus. So please stop that, because once you honestly will tell that we don't have resources, people will support you more and people will like it more, rather than going around the bush, beating around the bush and giving all this magical, fictionary, imaginary figures which doesn't add up. So this is just a short video about that how leaders can emulate and start living and start going around about their own legislative activities also. Call parliament, okay, you call with the certain distance norms and all these things, but don't stop. So that if you will stop, whatever you will do, people look at you and they do it. So you have to stop that fear mongering and psychological hammering about this virus, and honest acceptance of that we are a poor nation and we will be doing whatever is required. But don't beat around the chest and keep on selling that we have done this much of billions and trillions of dollars stimulus. It's not stimulus. First of all, stimulus is called directly giving money into the hands. It's called stimulus. All others are called reforms. So long-term reforms is fine, but patient has to live till that long term. So right now, presently, is that you open up this economy, and by doing this is that by your own example, setting an example by removing mask inside the office and start telling people to behave normally, don't become mad and hysteric about virus, and take precautions, but also start telling them go out and spend money on little things on restaurants and start helping economic in that way. That's all from my side. If you like my channel, please subscribe it and give me feedback also. And if you think that it is worth it, so you can help me by contributing and donating to my channel also. All the details are in the description box down. Thank you once again. See you. This is Niraj here from Moscow. Ciao.